I realized a number of years ago with my colleagues that, and this really came as a shock to me, talking to my 19-year-old students, 20-year-old students who'd been in the formal education system for, say, 18, 15 years. And what I realized, it was within a course I was teaching called Maps of Meaning, which was based on the first book that I wrote. And it's a book about how our existence, even our perceptions, our motivations, our emotions are grounded in narrative. They're grounded in stories. And I believe the scientific evidence for that is actually overwhelming, as well as the colloquially evidence, so to speak.
That's why Jesus taught in parables.
Yeah, so it's the most effective way of teaching. And well, look, you'll pay money to go see movies, to be instructed by stories. It's a very deep part of our character. In any case, I realized that my students hadn't ever really been asked to write their own stories. And you can write a story about who you've been, and you can write a story about who you are now, but you can also write a story about who you could be. And they had written essays on all sorts of abstract topics and been asked to think to some degree deeply about those topics, but no one had ever sat them down and said explicitly, okay, look, kid, like, here's the deal. You can have what you want and need, assuming you're taking care of yourself, right? Assuming that you're starting out with the proper attitude towards yourself, which is that you're worthy of care and respect, and there's something to you that's valuable that at least could be developed. You need to give yourself that amount of credit, like you would with anyone that you might be willing to attempt to care for and love. And then the next question is, all right, you can have what you want, but you have to specify it. What would you like from your friends 3 to 5 years down the road? What would you like your friendship network to look like? What would you like to do? How would you like your career to shape itself? How are you going to take care of your family? And what about children and a long-term mate, a wife or a husband? What are you going to do with your time outside of work that's useful and engaging and meaningful and productive? How are you going to take care of yourself mentally and physically? And how are you going to withstand temptation so that it doesn't take you down in the particular way that temptation might take you down? And so you're asked to write a few sentences, not to be obsessive about it, but to sketch it out like a bad first draft, And then you're asked to write for 15 minutes. It's like, okay, it's 3 to 5 years down the road, and you have what you need and want to make your life what it needs to be, so that you can be a good person in the face of the suffering of life. What does it look like? And then we ask people to do the contrary, which I think is also useful, which is, all right, well, consider for a moment the multitude of your faults and the direction those faults could pull you in. And everyone knows that. Everyone has a sense of how they would fall apart in their own particular manner, with their own particular weaknesses. It's 3 to 5 years down the road, and you've let that part of your character dominate. What particular corner of hell is it that you're now occupying? And so now you have something to aim at. You have a purpose, right? And that's motivating. People need a purpose in life. You need a purpose neurochemically, because without a purpose, you don't feel any positive motivation or any positive emotion. Like, our positive emotion is linked to our pursuit of valuable goals. That's how our brains are set up. And so you need that positive goal, and also to stop you from being unduly uncertain and anxious because nothing is specified enough. And you need something to run away from. And so you can run away from the worst in you. You can escape from the worst in you, and you can move towards the best in you. And then we have people write out a strategic plan for the accomplishment of their goals. It's called the Future Authoring Program, by the way. It's available online at a site called selfauthoring.com. And We've tried it with thousands of university students now, and it's had a remarkable effect on their retention.